Please be seated. Good evening, distinguished guests, families and friends, teachers and administrators, and of course, my fellow classmates. My name is Bryce Ferguson, and I welcome you to a most unique and unprecedented graduation celebration for the class of 2020. Now, even for those here who have not been directly affected by the socio-political chaos dividing our nation, one quick glance around this stadium will tell you that nothing this year has been predictable or expected. So, in some ways, for this senior class, this abnormal graduation is the perfect conclusion to a very bizarre and unusual year. If this were a normal graduation ceremony, we would request that everyone turn off their phones and hold their applause to the very end out of respect for the traditional procedures of graduation. However, in case you hadn't noticed, we're outside in a soccer stadium in Kansas in the middle of the summer. So I think it's safe to say that this graduation is anything but normal. Although we are here to formally congratulate our graduates, we are also here to celebrate alongside one another. And as a result, we encourage each of you to cheer as loudly as you desire for your favorite graduate. We thank all of you for your decision to attend in light of the current crises our nation is facing. And once again, welcome to the graduation celebration for the class of 2020.
Hello and welcome to the long-awaited graduation ceremony for the Lee Summit North High School class of 2020. My name is Brooke Binger, and it has truly been an honor to serve as the student body president for this past school year. I would first like to thank our district administration, Dr. Meisenheimer, and Children's Mercy Park for making our hopes of having a graduation ceremony into a reality. I would also like, thank you. I would also like to thank all of the parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, siblings, relatives, and friends for joining us tonight, whether that be in person or virtually, to celebrate and honor the graduating class of 2020. Now, I don't want to ignore the elephant in the room. This is definitely not an ordinary graduation. While we don't find ourselves sitting in the rows of our traditional graduation venue tonight, the class of 2020 was never meant for anything of the ordinary. For over a decade, we have strived for the extraordinary, pushing the limits and striving for greatness in our own special ways. I have seen us test the boundaries of our world and settle for nothing less than the best. This is the moment we have all dreamed of. From kindergarten to half of a senior year, we have done it all. The tests, the study sessions, and all of the daily math homework that we thought would never end have finally concluded, ultimately leading us to this moment. As we gather tonight as a class one last time, let us reflect on the memories we have made together and the camaraderie we will forever share. These times do not define us, and they certainly do not define the class of 2020. We are strong, irrepressible, and most importantly, graduating in one heck of a venue. Now, as many of you know, it is tradition at Lee Summit North for the graduating class to leave behind a gift for the future generations of Broncos. While we finished our academic year online at home, the halls of our building were filled with hardworking staff dedicated to keeping us healthy and safe. In particular, our custodial and nursing staff worked diligently through this pandemic, cleaning the school in preparation for our return. As a class, we would like to honor and thank them for for their caring and selflessness with a sculpture piece in the shape of the letters LSN, which will be located outside the school's west entrance. Thank you again to these amazing staff members. And now, oh, thank you. And now, congratulations to the class of 2020, and let us cherish this unique and special moment for many years to come.
Good evening, Lee Summit North senior class of 2020. My name is Annie McCord, and it is my honor to be here before you tonight and to have the opportunity to speak to you all. On an average day at Lee Summit North, we have a routine, 7 classes, 48 minutes each, with 5 minutes in between. In those 5 minutes, we see acquaintances, teachers, best friends, and all of the other students in the sea of our hallways. The familiar well-wish to have a good day rings through our minds as we reminisce on our time here. Something my parents have told me since I was young is to make it a great day. This small change in wording reminds me that I am ultimately responsible for my actions and my perspective each and every day. But how can we fulfill this beyond the walls of Lee Summit North? How do we accomplish this in our most difficult moments? First, hard work has the power to push our limits and fulfill our goals. The challenge of life brings struggles, like a pandemic or Schoology. But through hard work, struggles teach us lessons. These past 4 years, we have grown not only as students, but for many of us, also as athletes and people, because of the work ethic our teachers, coaches, and friends have taught us. Our teachers have taught us to stop not when we are tired, but when we are finished. Our coaches have taught us how to persevere. Our friends have taught us the importance of consistency in all that we do. We sit here today with our futures in our hands. Let's remember the importance of hard work and the special moments it brings us as we make our days great. As we progress in our lives, not only having a great day, but making it a great day correlates directly with fulfillment. Finding purpose in the big things and the small things in life requires taking risks. Some of the greatest risks we took while in high school brought us learning experiences, success, and also fulfillment. Together, we learned to finish what we started through numerous all-nighters and hours upon hours upon hours of homework. Together, we discovered our passions, which will continue to bring us joy for years to come. Purpose is one of the hardest questions life offers, but I urge all of you to keep searching beyond the bricks of Lee Summit North and the time we are spending gathered here today. Finding purpose is essential to making a great day. The final point I would like to make today is the importance of making mistakes. Behind every great success, there are greater failures. Failures in school, failures in careers, or failures in our friendships. We are all obligated to own up to those mistakes and be kind and compassionate to ourselves and others moving forward. Punishing ourselves for messing up is not our job. The consequences for our mistakes will come, and we do not have control over that. The only thing we have control over is our own actions in the face of our failures. Learning to cope with shortcomings has been the biggest challenge for me in every part of my life. Imperfection is scary to many of us, don't get me wrong, but it is inevitable. To make it a great day, it is important to hold ourselves responsible for our mistakes and hope for grace and forgiveness despite all of it. As we continue with our lives, it is my hope for all of us that we can find the strength to make it a great day. Although I know it is practically impossible to make every day a great day, there is always a tomorrow to try again. Whether by hard work, purpose, or failure, my wish for the Lee Summit North senior class of 2020 is to realize the influence we all hold over our perspectives and our paths moving forward. We have the power to make it a great future. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Emily Miller, and I had the privilege of serving as the interim superintendent for the 2019-20 school year. No one could have predicted the course of events over the last several months, but here we are today at Children's Mercy Park, recognizing this significant accomplishment and milestone in your life. Please allow me to make a few introductions. Joining us today is the Board of Education, Board President Ryan Murdoch, Vice President Kim Fritchie, Board Member Mike Allen, Board Member Kathy Campbell, Board Member Julie Doan, Board Member Judy Hedrick, Board Member Megan Marshall. It is also my pleasure to introduce to you our new superintendent, Dr. David Buck. This year, it's essential to recognize those who have gone above and beyond in the service of others. Please stand if you have served our country in the armed forces or work as a first responder, healthcare worker, LSR 7 teacher, or teacher from another district. Thank you for your service. At this time, we would also like to recognize any member of the class of 2020 that is committed to a branch of the armed forces or intends on becoming a first responder, healthcare worker, or teacher. Please stand. While today's ceremony is in recognition of your achievement, it is also a celebration for those who have cared for you and watched you grow. Broncos, please rise and thank family members and friends in attendance and those who are watching and cheering for you at home. Please stand. Be seated. As you leave here today, your futures will unfold. Many of you are joining the workforce, waiting for your deployment date, or entering higher education. For today, be present in this moment, be proud of your accomplishments, celebrate with your classmates and loved ones, and be sure to give thanks to those who matter. My sincerest congratulations, class of 2020.
Graduates, family, friends, welcome to the end of civilization. I do not mean the apocalypse, although every millennia or so, some overly prideful generation projects the end of everything. Heard anything about that lately? No, by the end of civilization, of course, I mean Kansas. Did you notice on your way here that after this little blister of commercial buildup, the planes just open up and the world ends? So it's here, on the edge of American civilization, perhaps both figuratively and literally, that you will commence the greatest ritual of your young lives. A ritual from which you will gain an official recognition of adulthood. And we, the older people, will pass on to you the great mantle of American civilization. And right now, graduates, boy, you can have it. We're done. It turns out that when each of you leave here, you will receive the keys to your family's cars. All of the old people will board ships, taking us to the west, where we'll join Frodo and Gandalf in everlasting peace. Meanwhile, you can solve all the world's problems yourself. You're welcome. And you thought the drive out here was really long. Of course, I'm only kind of kidding. Instead, when you make your way out of this beautiful monstrosity of a gathering place, you'll be invited to officially join with us older people. And we, the people, will chart the course for civilization together. You're welcome. Don't be afraid. Our recent crises are nothing new in American life, except for perhaps going back to school. We faced pandemics before. We've faced gaping cultural divides, and we have always emerged stronger. But what is new is that you now have an official voice, a place at the American table, a vote, and 2 feet that can now join the march. You've been endowed by your Creator, your families, and your civilization with an official capacity, and hence a responsibility to make the world better. You're welcome. Or as my boss sometimes says, you get to do this. You may take a moment to consider that responsibility. And while you ponder its immense gravity, remember that you will not, cannot, and do not exercise that responsibility alone. Take a look at the people next to you, or search out the eyes of your loved ones. Whether you're bound by ties of friendship or family, to the 2,000 people who've gathered here today, our grand ritual binds you as members of a broader human community. What makes America America is not a single culture or an origin story, but a creed, which is a silly 18th century way of saying a belief that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator, whomever or whatever that Creator may be, with certain inalienable rights, and that amongst many of those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And those rights need not conflict with one another. In fact, our shared ability to exercise them together is the very proof of our equality. However, and you may know this, that belief was not made real in 1776. Instead, Millions of Americans have fought for 2 centuries to make it more real, to make this nation more perfect, to bring that beautiful idea into actual existence in the world. The founding mothers and fathers of this country understood the radical nature of the creed of human equality. So much so, in fact, that within a generation, some had rejected the ideal of equality because it was just too difficult to make real. And consequently, those forebears invited the whirlwind that must consume any society that rejects dignity and respect, exchanging it for fear and complacency. Any 9-year-old can tell you that fear leads to hate, and hate leads to the dark side. And still, some portion of our society seems to be bound by that fear of equality. It turns out that in recent years, science itself has suddenly caught up with the Declaration of Independence. Creeds or beliefs may be rejected, but science has lent a biological reality to equality. Our knowledge of DNA is relatively new. Since the discovery of DNA's chemical structure in the 1950s, scientists have been working to map every genome of every creature on the planet. And the results are rather astounding. It turns out that we are, all of us, sisters and brothers. The library of life that resides in every cell of your body and in mine is nearly identical across 7.8 billion human beings now living on this planet. Physicist and entrepreneur Ricardo Sabatina has noted that if we were to print the entire genetic code of humans out, it would occupy 262,000 pages, or about 175 enormous volumes, and every page but 500 would be identical. And within those 500 pages, we would find the only differences across nearly 8 billion people and their lives. We are 99.998% identical. I carry you within me. You carry me within you. Your newfound responsibility to make the world a better place is real, because our history and science bind us inextricably to one another, to our ancestors, and to our future. You're welcome. So once we've read all of your names, and our civilization has officially conferred upon you the responsibility of an adult human being, put aside your fear, recognize your shared humanity, and we'll meet you in the parking lot to get started.
A great philosopher of our time once said, "I know change can be scary, but it's part of growing up. It's how we find out who we are and who we're gonna be." This great philosopher was none other than Hannah Montana. Look around, Broncos. Take this moment in and let it set in. We did it. We overcame those late nights and early mornings. We overcame the lunchroom changing the cookies time after time. We overcame whatever came our way and made the best of it. And after constant setbacks throughout our year, we have finally made it to one of the biggest days of our lives. From the first day we walked into our high school, we were told we were the LSN Broncos. But at that time, none of us truly knew what that meant. I'm going to use the acronym LSN to further explain. I asked fellow students what LSN meant to them, and many of them said that the first letter L stands for legacy. It is no secret that our class will leave an impression not only in our community, but in the world as well. The class of 2020 will always be considered a class that weathers out any storm that comes our way, and who constantly supports one another. The thing is, those morals were established long before this year ever started. As we go into our next chapter of our life, don't forget about those around you, whether that be your parents, your teachers, your fellow peers, or anyone who has helped shape you to the person you are today. The legacy of our class standing together and helping each other throughout the setbacks will not be upheld without the support from all those caring individuals that we have had throughout our high school career. The next letter in LSN is S. When I asked students what they thought S stood for, success was mentioned over and over again. From the rigorous academics, to the competitive sports programs, to the innovative creative arts, and the diverse opportunities that each of us have had. The class of 2020 have had numerous successes that have helped us to shape our class. We have constantly been pushed to reach the highest success possible from those around us and ourselves. The success that we obtained as a class does not define us alone, but the hard work and determination that it took to reach success does. The drive and passion that was achieved throughout our 4 years at North was not an action that was done by one person, but by each of us in our own unique ways. As we go into the next chapter of our lives, no matter what that may be, remember the morals that Ellison helped establish, and use those to create your own success in all that you do. Continue to constantly strive for success in your future, but do not forget, you have the ability to define your own success. The last letter in LSN is N. I would like to say that N stands for notable. The class of 2020 will forever be notable for their ability to be flexible. We had to overcome constant setbacks and hurdles, but the way the class of 2020 handled it was very notable. Even in those sometimes awkward video lectures, the class of 2020 handled each situation with adapting, charisma, and an open mind. We will always be remembered and notable for our ability to stay true to ourselves no matter what's thrown in our way. As we leave here today and move forward in each of our lives, remember that the legacies that each of us have created and will be leaving behind. Remember the countless successes that we have achieved not only as a class, but as individuals too. And finally, remember all of the notable actions and positive responses on how we handled whatever life threw our way. And as we proceed in the next chapter of our lives, remember to work hard and constantly strive for your own success, to always help others in whatever situation comes their way. And finally, always pay for better Wi-Fi, because you never know when you're gonna need it. Use the morals that you have attained to change the world and make it a better place. Congratulations, class of 2020. We finally did it.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us to celebrate the class of 2020. My name is Jeff Meisenheimer, and it's been my privilege to serve as principal for our graduates. Before I begin, I'd like to thank Sporting KC, our Board of Education, District Administration, and a few moms for your commitment to ensuring the opportunity to properly celebrate the class of 2020. A special recognition is deserved by one staff member who truly organized nearly this entire graduation, all during her summer break. Please join me in thanking Mrs. Hollingsworth. Seniors, maybe because of time past, or maybe it just wasn't that memorable, but my recollection of my own graduation from high school 30 years ago is very vague. Due to the circumstances surrounding your graduation, I predict that in the year 2050, you will clearly recall your graduation, as well as the events leading up to this celebration. Parents, isn't that scary? We're as close to 2050 as we are 1990. One life lesson I hope you take with the rescheduling of graduation from Community of Christ to Lee Summit North to virtual to this venue is that a delay is not always a denial. You'll experience many delays that feel like a denial, but if you remain persistent, work hard, and appropriately advocate for yourself and your loved ones, delays can often be turned from denial to opportunity. I, for one, believe we have been provided a wonderful opportunity to celebrate you this evening, and I'm thankful this delay did not result in a denial. Now, without further delay, let's review the class of 2020's academic legacy at Lee Summit North. In respect to rigorous study, 361 of the students that sit before you, or nearly 80% of the class, took at least one weighted course during their time at Lee Summit North. The International Baccalaureate curriculum is widely considered the most challenging high school curriculum in the world. The class of 2020 continued the Bronco tradition of enrolling in IB courses, including 12 International Baccalaureate Diploma candidates and 7 International Baccalaureate career-related candidates. Would each IB Diploma candidate and IB career-related candidate, along with your parents, please stand and be recognized. The class of 2020 successfully completed 678 IB courses during their career and took 306 IB exams during their senior year alone. Seniors, you accumulated 2,072 hours of dual credit, college credit. If pulled together, this is equivalent to approximately 17 college degrees. Not only did these seniors engage in difficult coursework, they excelled. 66 of these students, or over 14% of the class, finished their high school career with a cumulative grade point average of 4.0 or higher. In reviewing ACT exam results, the class has produced 31 Bright Flight Scholars. Would each of our 31 Bright Flight Scholars, along with their parents, please stand and be recognized? Once again, U.S. News & World Report recently named Lee Summit North one of America's best high schools. This ranking was achieved through the IB, ACT, and EOC scores of the class that sits before you. Another measure of any school's academic success is the accumulation of scholarships offered to seniors. The senior class accumulated over $6.5 million in post-secondary scholarships. When this class wasn't achieving academically or in extracurriculars, they were giving back to the community of Lee Summit. Seniors, you performed over 11,000 hours of community service. To put that in perspective, this is equivalent to one person working a 40-hour-a-week job for over 5 years. On behalf of the citizens of Lee Summit, thank you. At this point, we want to recognize those seniors who finished in the top 5% of the class. Admission into the top 5% required a minimum grade point average of 4.2896. Seniors who finished in the top 5%, along with your parents, please stand to be recognized. And would these two seniors please stand for a special recognition? The salutatorian for the class of 2020 is Nick Green with a GPA of 4.55. And the valedictorian with a GPA of 4.57 is Annie McCord. We've reached the point in our ceremony where we recognize each graduate. Board members, these students seated before you have fulfilled all the requirements as set forth by Missouri's Department of Education and the LSR 7 Board of Education and are eligible to receive their diplomas.
Before we begin recognizing those graduates in attendance tonight, we'd like to read the names of those who were unable to make it.
Savion T. Bailey.
Connor Reese Jones.
Emma Jean Catherine Balmain.
Sophia Marie Jones.
Logan James Benbrook.
Taylor Deshawn Kelly.
Bailey Sue Bittinger.
Gabriel Luke Kiakajori.
Douglas Bernard Billisbach.
Justin Joseph Kowalski.
Leslie Julene Black.
Caleb James Lavery.
Caleb Dean Brossum.
Christopher Joseph Lynn.
Ethan Newell Brown.
Ruben Martinez.
Sage Lloyd Anthony Brown.
Daniel Stephen Matthews.
Parker Alexander Bruce.
Liam Cole McLeod.
Micah Alexander Burns.
Ethan Hunter McGill.
Michael Alexander Kalia Jr.
Hope Leanne Myers.
Braden Todd Campbell.
Maxwell Thomas Monroe.
Keaton Thomas Christensen.
Jaden Ivon Moore.
Sabrina Ashley Cole.
Keon Joshua Mosey.
Michael McKenzie Collins.
Porter Herrick Nyholt.
Zachary Tyler Cook.
David Hunter Nichols.
Oliver James Creamer.
Christian Scott O'Neill.
Jack Tanner Crosley.
Tyler Patrick Orender.
Zane Emmanuel Doughtenhan.
Abigail Elizabeth Ostenpowski.
Anna Marie Day.
Marquand Sadiq Piero.
Natalie Lauren Eisenmenger.
Caden Michael Potochnik.
Julia Fernandez Bermejo.
Dylan Benjamin Potter.
Hamza Abdur Rahman Foster.
Travail Armand Powell.
Maike Maxine Frank.
Amelia Kate Presnell.
William Harrison Fuller.
Malachi Xavier Price.
Donnie DeAndre Gardner Jr.
Carrollton Lee Ramsey III.
Keenan Eugene Gaskin.
Destiny Christine Rank.
Christian Royce Anthony Gibbs.
Michael Dwayne Robinson Jr.
Chastity Lee Gibson.
Benjamin Joseph Roselle.
Jan Niklas Griedelbach,
Skylar Sue Rowe,
Matthew Robert James Hall,
Carson DeRace Rudolph,
Harold James Hamilton III,
Brittany Marie Scott,
Tyler Edward Hans,
Nicholas Bradford Shade,
DeAndre Keith Hardiman,
Dallas T. Shelton,
Carter Lee Harmon,
Austin Michael Scholl,
Yusuf Syed Hassan,
Emma Grace Small,
Artem William Homan,
Riley Elizabeth Smith,
Jory Joseph Hose,
Andrew Harrison Strickland,
Cheney Marie Huff,
Carly Rose Strecker,
William James Hunt,
Ariana Gabrielle Termini, Jylan Marion Turner, Jillian Page Voth, Hannah Page Watts, Graham Douglas Weichel, Jenna Michelle Wilhite, Anaya Monet Lynn Williams, Caitlin Elaine Williams, Jackson Nicole Woodbury, Dawson Dale Woodring.
Now we will proceed with the reading of the names of our graduates in attendance this evening. Alexander Clark Davis,
Corbin Dean Kunkel,
Bryce Nigel Ferguson,
Brandy Nicole Yearden,
Brooke Elizabeth Binger,
Tashara Marie Turk,
Anne Elizabeth McCord,
Rashawn Monet Wilson,
Keegan William Pohl,
John David Lawrence,
Riley Joe Harker,
Nicole Chrislyn Pegg,
Riley Joe Anderson,
Haley Elizabeth Rife,
Parker Samuel Cartwright,
Luke Andrew Roberts,
Gracie K. Hammond,
Dustin Lee Potter,
Jane Margaret Bromley,
Brennan Lee Weber,
Zachary Allen Anglin,
Bailey Lynn Tabarachi,
Katie Elizabeth Dow,
Charlize Natalie Watson,
Haley Elizabeth Jan,
Kylie Nicole Stubbs,
Nina Catherine Gardner,
Sierra Denise Wesley,
Ziglali Hernandez,
Eliza Grace Miller,
Julia Rose Hinkle,
Donnie DeAndre Gardner Jr.,
Caitlin Rose Esri,
Christian Royce Anthony Gibbs,
Alvi Haroon,
Layla Rain Wilson,
Austin Lee Bandelier,
Lorelei Cashiero Wiseman,
Daniel Wayne Baker,
Madison Elizabeth Sanders,
Gavin Lee Raleigh Faulkner.
Jonathan Lane Ross.
Jacob Austin Hurst.
Tin Vu.
Robert Lee Abbott III.
Jordan John Corner.
Cameron Michael Brennan.
Cameron James Snow.
Christian Isaac Hernandez.
Cooper Daniel Phillips.
Matthew Durr Gardner.
Wesley Earl Martin.
Brett Daniel Dijokovic.
Raheem Jashawn Fisher.
Ryan Christopher Franks.
Mark Jerome McGee III.
Cameron Lee Banks.
Braden Carl Singleton.
Michelle Antoinette Ellis.
Connor Thomas Lepper.
Pranaya Javon Barrett.
Allison Marie Makovic.
Adriana Nicole Brown.
Monterey Nicole Meekum.
Christina Michelle Lynn Camp.
Chelsea Grace Madden.
Marisha Estella Lee Henderson.
Carter John Pickering.
Kiera Lachelle Ford.
David Roderick Spiller James.
Timber Ann Bronson.
Hunter Dylan Ross.
Allison Elaine Hornsby.
Tristan Todd Jones.
Bailey Allison Banks.
Peyton Gregory Kramer.
Jenna Saeed Haji.
Hayden Joseph Knip.
Mena Saeed Haji.
Robert Jackson Stafford.
Kara Lynn Johnson.
Olivia May Riley.
Autumn Violet Billy Harris.
Matthew John Lewis.
Sabria Miriam Hassam.
Elijah Cole Sanford.
Overton Everett Harris.
Morgan Alexandria Stewart.
Maylee Tiana Burkett.
Joya Marie Shelton.
Joseph Gregory Carr.
Jamar Antoine Turner.
Emma Grace Dickey.
Tyler Ahmad Warren.
Drayden Michael Carroll.
Eric Stephen Webb Jr.
Omar El Safi Mohammed Ahmed.
Anaya Williams.
Abdullah Falah.
Jackson Philip Studer.
Nicole Corinne Feller.
Alexis Nicole McBride.
Rashawn Allen Briggs.
Celeste Danielle McBride.
Kaylee Bree Bricker.
Brock Hubert Lane.
Caitlin Ann Carlson.
Dunya Nadal Koki.
Amelia Jolene Brissett.
Rayanne Mohammed Khan.
Carson Elizabeth Clark.
Kellen John Schilt.
Demarian Roland Greening.
Jordan Kendall Prejean.
Jaden Chevelle Burks.
Andrew Mitchell Shear.
Darian Maurice Carter.
Jaden Daniel Lewis.
Cameron Luciano Brown.
Preston Allen Talpers.
Lucas Parker Ferris.
Bruce Frederick Lane, Jr.
Dylan Andrew Azier.
Alexander Raphael Noble.
Jefferson Edward Donald II.
Matthew Thomas Whitaker.
Alan Emiliano Guardado.
Labrie Onje Jones.
Andy Joseph Guardado.
Eve Noel Manning.
Christopher James Gilbert.
Peyton Ann Wisemore.
Nathan Daniel Heredia.
Grace Elizabeth Wilson.
Jackson Ozias Ezel.
Brianni Iman Marie Winston.
Megan Lee Feeney.
Danea Taliana Van.
Isaac Lee Chase.
Zoria Kate Matthews.
Omar Ali.
Nicholas Dean Shriver.
Tristan Olivia Beatrice Goforth.
Max William Sabata.
Karen Yvette Cardoza Zepeda.
Jordan Riley Civil.
Jada Myrie Hall.
Seth Tyler Jarvis.
Devin Landis DeRoos.
Joseph Wayne Truman.
Dane McCaw Davis.
Mackay Breck Thurman.
Christopher Lee Kraft.
Natalie Page Rowland.
Hayden Nolte Cole.
Taylor Grace Phillips.
Colby Ronell Franklin.
Daniel Rios Rojo.
Destiny Michelle Coulter.
Elizabeth Josephine Marcus.
Hannah Breon Berry.
Jacqueline Denilsa Perez.
Malik James Hansen.
Sophia Alexis Myers.
Nikayla Arlisha Davis.
Nathaniel Michael Yates.
Akira May Gilmore.
Grace Elizabeth Miller.
Christiana Hope Filler.
Hannah Nicole Robinson.
Natalie Elaine Dan.
Braden Matthew Priest.
Austin Clark Eckert.
Sophia Camille Turano.
Zachary Ryan Davies.
Miles Ellison Shaw.
Liam Patrick Fitzsimmons.
Joseph Gabriel Thomas.
Devin Thomas Alaman.
Jalen James Rogers.
Caden Joseph Hicks.
Zane Stephen Ragland.
Reese Addison Harms.
Kristen Leanne Shoemate.
McGuire Stuart Jameson Donegan.
Michaela Rochelle Nelson.
Samuel Smith Brown.
Ananda Lorraine Martinez.
Christian Isaiah Doan.
Sunya Masood.
Olivia Louise Johnson.
Hayden Riley Martin.
Anjali Rose Haggard.
Mackenzie Marie Zinzer.
Andrew David Bennett.
Molly Claire Smith.
Kyle Garrett Bellis.
Peyton Michelle Sumter.
Colin Gabriel Hicks.
Jack Paul Van Norman.
Roscoe Abraham Flint.
Ryan Andrew Stiff.
Ryan Cole Crawford.
Augustus Herman Rand.
Jenna Ray Dufresne.
Dayton Turner Rao.
Anna Marie Draney.
Ian Mateo Nitschke.
Nicole Marie Hartman.
Nicholas Craig Wallen.
Rachel Michelle Geringer.
Alan James Taylor.
Tanner James Carr.
Bridger Madison Scott.
Caden Alexander Cooley.
Jarek Lennon Sebastian Wright.
Talon Chase Hauser.
Caleb Corey Jones.
John Charles Foster.
Kellen Thomas Sharp.
Carson Andrew Ebert.
Megan Grace Snyder.
Dylan Matthew Fox.
Christian James Whiting.
Cheney Marie Huff.
Nathan Allen Kuhlman.
Jacob Michael Hudo.
Abigail Brooke Mathewson.
Jacob Nathaniel Humbard.
Taylor Mackenzie Lascola.
Taylor Teresa Cousins.
Olivia Kathleen Markham.
Natalie Marie Bruce.
Megan Elizabeth Snyder.
Carly Ann Dwyer.
Emma Leanne O'Shaughnessy.
Lainey K. Gall.
Damian Mateo Blankenship Velasquez.
Sydney Elizabeth Allen.
Chloe Elizabeth Wood.
Parker James Allen.
Lindsay Ryan Roulette.
Bailey Nicole Hirsch.
Dania Zabin.
Gracie Madison Enyert.
Skylar Ann Rowe.
Brianna Elizabeth Bond.
Katie Suzanne Reese.
Hope Catherine Davis.
Shelby Lanice Sokup.
Isabella Margaret Edwards.
Colby Garrett Turner.
Mackenzie K. Carter.
Capri Joe Tolman.
Madison Lee Carter.
Alexander Blair St. John.
Tana Marie Hamlin.
Madison Ann Tinsley.
Isabel Marie Cooley.
Lauren Elizabeth Wiley.
Joshua Michael Cates.
Mason Joseph Urick.
Perla Michelle Garcia Tapia.
Gabriel Henry Milliron.
Emily Austin Attaway.
Allison Catherine Lawrence.
Olivia Mary Grace Carrender.
Darcy Rose Kane.
Marcel Elaine Heinecke.
Lindsay Renee Morris.
Isabel Maureen Hanks.
Alejandra Sariñana.
Emma Grace Ingracia.
Quincy Joseph Schoonover.
Hector Emilio Caballero III.
Luke Matthew Miller.
Ava Marie Hammonds.
Brian Thomas Wagner.
Ethan Pierce Fields.
Samuel Allen Wardlow.
Jonalia Grace Hall.
Jonathan Henry Whiteman.
Samantha Ray Finley.
Haley Elizabeth Martin.
Madeline Grace Brown.
Emma Lane White.
Morgan Elizabeth Glasgow.
Kate Lynn Martin.
Emma Tyler Cothran.
Raven McKenna Steele.
Tyler James Chorney.
Paola Estefania Ramirez.
Edward Ino Ennis.
Grace Elizabeth Rimmer.
Seth Clayton Cooper.
Erica Nicole Sandoval.
Brian William Contreras.
Mishara Kaylin Peters.
Isabella Marie Cooper.
Tatiana Rosalia Plowman.
Christopher Roy Doherty.
Ashton Rose Taylor.
Paul Martin Tutut Flores.
Abigail Rose Shirley.
Nicholas Edward Green.
Canton Matthew Sharp.
Peyton Michael Anderson.
Andrew Curtis McLaughlin.
Alex Michael French.
Hayden Dallas Mitchell.
Jake Scott Johnson.
Tucker James Nunnenkamp.
Cade Anderson Cowan.
Keon Montez Lewis.
J. Philip Edson.
Clinton Andrew Rogers.
Ashley Jean Cade.
Isabel Marie Pearson.
Samantha Joanne Circle.
Paige Renee Pickett.
Max Lewis Bilton.
Grace Marie Mason.
Alexander Lee Goff.
Michelle Joy Thomas.
Jerron Asher Scott Cole.
Zachary Smith.
April Nicole Cowan.
Emily Ann Stoll.
Seth Nicholas Donaldson.
Jackson Liu.
Brendan Joseph Jeffrey Hutton.
Logan Matthew Sullivan.
Shaylee Marie Jones.
Cheney Sawyer Perkins.
Josiah Malachi Miller.
Jacob Ian Nipper.
Abigail Nicole Bailey.
Natalie Starr McCauley.
Corinne Lee Gaylor.
Dalton Lee Turk.
Cassandra Grace Gearhart.
Gavin Minnick.
Raylyn Elizabeth Askew.
Eric Robert John Rinder.
Joshua Jonesy Hickman.
Mackenzie Bell Yount.
Trevail Armand Powell.
Lucia Catherine Rios. Elliot Selesky. Madison Lorraine Wright. Mitchell Porter Luce. Marcus Joshua Keller. Ryan James Nyman. Teiro Alvarez Stevenson, Jr. Andres Medrano. Michaela Marie Sutton. Hey there. Reagan McKinley Longwith. Michael Dwayne Robinson, Jr. Malachi Price. Okay. Isaiah True Monroe. Jeremy Caesar Sanchez. Sebastian Allen Bach Williams. Donovan Schaefer. Kareem Taylor Johnson.
At this time, we'd like to invite Riley Harker back to the stage. He'll lead the LSN class of 2020 in one final singing of the LSN Crimson Banner. Copyright Steve Perry, 1995. Riley was a 3-year member of Crimson Camerata and member of the KC District Choir. I'd also like to invite Keegan Pohl to the stage. As drum major, he had the most important role of leading the LSN fight song at countless events throughout this school year. Immediately following the Crimson Banner, for the last time, graduates, we invite you to sing and cheer the LSN fight song. The first time through, you may participate in the quintessential graduation moment of tossing your cap in the air. The second time through, we begin the recessional. One final time, guests, the graduates will exit right back there, where it now says we're 15 minutes behind schedule. Straight out of the parking lot, you will meet your graduates at the car, well, of course, maintaining social distance. Class of 2020, I invite you to stand. Now is the magical moment where you grab your tassel on the right and move it to the left, signifying that you are now a graduate. Congratulations. We love you. And now, please join Riley for the final singing of the LSN Crimson Banner.
To Lee Summit North our voices raise with songs of honor and of praise, beacon of integrity, forever we shall sing of thee. Wave the crimson banner high, pride and loyalty draw nigh. Spirit, friendship, unity, we'll cherish for eternity.